I'm Dr. Jerry Friedland, professor of medicine, epidemiology, and public health at Yale School of Medicine. And I'm the co-director of the course with Dr. Paul Volberding, who's professor of medicine and co-director of the CFAR at UCSF. And we represent the East Coast and the West Coast stylistically and how we've dressed today. So this is the 27th annual advanced CME course in HIV pathogenesis, antiretrovirals, and other selected issues in HIV disease management. And this course has gone continually for 27 years and is in many ways the history of the HIV epidemic when one looks back from where we started and where we are now, and the remarkable accomplishments that have taken place in this arguably worst epidemic, and at least documented epidemic in human history. And I wanted to say from the outset that many of you have been doing this working with HIV for a large share of these 27 years, and have come repeatedly to this course. And I wanted to honor the people in the room who are the major providers in terms of numbers of people living with HIV in the New York metropolitan area. And over 400 of you are here today and care for many thousands of people living with HIV, and do it wonderfully and professionally with great commitment and compassion. And so I always think of you all, of us, as really the unsung heroes and heroines of the epidemic, and this course is in part to honor the work that you do and keep you up to date.
We have chosen over the past few years now to occasionally, not annually, but occasionally celebrate, note and celebrate the activities of one of the people that we've come into close collaborations with. And this year, and here in New York City, we think Scott Hammer is a more than deserving figure for this award. We had the opportunity last night to have a dinner in Scott's honor for our faculty, but we invited Scott and his wife, Susan Lorch, and from Paris, Patrick Yaney and his wife, Isabel. And we really acknowledge the many colleagues that really cherish Scott's leadership over the many years. It was, I think, symptomatic of Scott that we also invited, and I shouldn't take any credit, it was Donna and her staff working with Scott, a number of Scott's trainees, mentees, and colleagues over the years, some of whom are here with us today. But the reverence that people that have trained with Scott have for him is really something that we could all hope to find in the more senior parts of our own careers. In fact, though, Scott is also the product of another mentor. He trained with Marty Hirsch at Harvard, and those of the old people in the field that either have gray hair or no hair remember that Marty was really one of the amazing mentors as well, who trained not only Scott, but another generation of people, leaders in our field, infectious disease and HIV medicine. So Scott's the product of his own good training. We will talk more about Scott in just a minute, but I think without any question, people know Scott for his scientific leadership. He's been the head of ID at Columbia. We will hear the next head of ID at Columbia very soon. But he's done an amazing amount of work with the epidemic, and I think is known not just for his science, but also for his warmth and the training that he's provided so many people. Made a real impact on the care of HIV in New York City Lifetime of Leadership recognizes individuals who have made significant and lasting contributions to the field of HIV medicine through science, academic leadership, as well as physician education and training to improve the treatment and care of people infected with HIV or other viral infections. And Scott definitely qualifies for that. My last slide of this little introduction is this. We have, as an organization, done almost every other year, going back to 1996, treatment guidelines. We do it not in competition with the HHS guidelines, which, as you know, are the definitive, textbook of guidelines, but we think that ours in JAMA are a nice complement to that, and really taking us from the start. Scott was the first chair of those guidelines, has stayed involved. Patrick was the second chair of these guidelines, so we have a tradition on stage today. Scott, thank you very much for your contributions. It's great to have you here, and I'm going to introduce Donna Jacobson to carry on this accolade.
Good morning, everyone. Paul said this is Donna Jacobson. I'm the Executive Director of the IAS-USA, and I have had the great honor and pleasure of not only knowing Scott professionally for the last 25 years or so, but having Scott and Susan as my very, very dear friends. So this ability for us to present our Lifetime of Leadership Award to Scott now is a real deep, heartfelt pleasure for me. There were a couple things that we wanted to do to honor Scott today. One thing was to get people in the field part of the IAS-USA community. Now, there are about 100 different Scott Hammer communities, but we reached out to the IAS-USA Scott Hammer community and said, tell us a little bit, give us in some words what you think capture the essence of Scott Hammer. So this is the small group of the IAS-USA family who answered with their small words. So a few came in: kind, leader, inspirational, mensch, and mentor. And I thought that's probably enough. That's really all we need. And then some more started to come in. For those of you who are familiar with this format, it's called a word cloud. So we put words together. In the end, we wound up with almost 1,000 words. And the words that come up most frequently are the ones that come up in the biggest type. So you'll see mentor, brilliant starts to come out. And now we go to our final word cloud. And what's remarkable to me, but not surprising, is that we all know that Scott is a brilliant scientist. He's a tremendously smart, wicked smart man. But the words that come out are really the essence of Scott. And I don't think this much of kindness and mentoring come out for as many people in the field as they do for Scott. I think, Scott, this does capture your essence according to the couple of people in your IAS-USA world. So I just wanted to end with one note. This is a Twitter representation of tweets that came in or around Croy. And when I saw this, and we were preparing for today, I thought, this could be the tweet or equivalent of Scott Hammer's touching people in the field of HIV. So these would be the individuals that Scott touches through his collaborations in research and patient care. And if we superimpose this with about 1 million people with HIV who, through Scott's work, have lived longer and better because of what he's done in the field, I think this would capture that well. And I want to ask Trip Gulick and Mike Sag to come up and join Paul and myself to present our award to Scott.
Thank you. Yeah, Scott, come on up. So this is the award, and we can go to the next slide and you can read it with me, or I can make it happen. Here we go. So it says, a Lifetime of Leadership Award presented by the IAS-USA to Scott Hammer for 5 decades of service to the study and treatment of infectious diseases and for helping to forge the tools to defeat HIV on the anvil of excellence in medical science, an inspiring advisor to our mission. So, Chip, I'll let you present.
Thank you. Literally, I'm overwhelmed. But one of the, I now know this is real. Since it's occurred and I'm holding this. And I thought my heartfelt and deep feelings for the people who have preceded me on this on the stage and throughout my career, too numerous to count. But and so fortunately, this will not be an Oscar acceptance. So the music does not have to start. I thought I would just say 2 things. One is a secret, a well-known secret, but one that just to tell you that the niceness and the wonder of the IAS faculty and staff, and Donna and Paul and everyone else that you'll see today or have seen in the past, it's true. They are as nice and as wonderful and as dedicated as they appear. So it's a good thing in this world that we can have these types of feelings for colleagues and dear friends. The second thing is a point of advice. A Lifetime of Leadership Award is a daunting title, if you will, and I thought I'd just give you the secret to that. The secret to that is stay on time. And people appreciate that, and they respect it, and they should be respected. And the third thing I'll just add is that I've had the privilege of working with wonderful people over the years, but I've also had the privilege of being part of the diagnosis and treatment and hopefully now the effective prevention and future vaccine development of HIV. This is to my patients and to everyone that may have been touched in some way by my colleagues and mentees. This is dedicated to them. It's been a real privilege to be part of the fight against HIV/AIDS and other viral infections, but HIV has been my life. So thank you.